Okay, we're at the Malibu Experience with Alex Earle, and Alex is the one that did the Mulholland, and we're going to talk about some of the things with the bike. Now, Alex, you were telling me that the idea behind the bike, or what you had in your mind, was to try and inspire younger guys that might be looking to modify electric bikes and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what, starting with the front of the bike, tell me a little bit about the fender and how the front of the bike looks relative to the standard LiveWire.
Okay, yeah, of course. As you mentioned, like this is a mock-up. This is sort of a conceptual mock-up, and so these are not functional. But the idea was that they would be cooling vanes, like sort of heat sinks and elements that you see like in a computer to keep key components of the electronics cooler and perform therefore longer and more efficiently. Yeah. So that was kind of the concept there. As you pointed out, like my idea was to actually just like, you know, we all know what to do with if you buy a Mustang, 5-liter Mustang, it's like everyone knows like you got to do this to the induction, you know, the fuel induction, and you got to do this to the exhaust. We know how to hot rod stuff. We've been doing it for 100 years to ICEs. And so I'm like, what's the hot rodder of the future going to do to these when you get an electric bike? So that was kind of the concept. And so I was doing things like this element to suggest almost like computer and electronic upgrades that you would make.
To make it look like a chopped front end or flat on the front?
And I can tell you right now, just from, so that's the concept behind it, is this cooling of the ECU and the charger and all these components that get hot when you're operating an electric bike. But on a purely visual standpoint, I remember sketching this bike from the side view, and I thought the battery is such a big block, and it makes the forks look like these two little chopsticks out the front, like sort of weak. And I always wanted to visually connect the wheel.
Strength.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look inside view, the idea is that it's like almost like a buttress you would see on a cathedral in Europe or something.
So it's a much more muscular look.
Yeah, it kind of gives
here's
the wheel.
The standard one over here. I see what you mean. Yeah, this is kind of like chopsticks. Yeah, that's right. It's a chopstick kind of look.
You know? That was the visual idea there. And then if I keep on that visual kind of theme, the way I started this design, I remember I wanted. If you look at the original one, it has like there's an upholstered piece. There's this like upholstered wedge-shaped piece, and there's this very organic design language of the frame. And then there's this like geometric horizontal lines, which are beautiful. It's all nicely executed, but there's a lot going on here, is what I'm trying to say. And then you got these kind of like almost like steam era design, cues like of this kind of stuff. I removed all that, and I wanted to consolidate it. So I made I started with these, extending the horizontal graphic from the battery upward. You can see I covered the whole top part of the frame. So I eliminated that, and I got rid of the triangular piece at the same time.
So it's also a cooling thing too.
Exactly. That's like an additional like auxiliary part of the cooling system. That's why these are finned as well, just like the battery. And then this still functions. There is a functional air.
Oh, there's a scoop in there still.
Yeah. That's still just like the factory when you can see that little scoop. That is functional. That channels air. If you remove that piece, you see it turns at 90 degrees, sends it to the center of the bike to cool the ECU.
And in terms of the orange accent with the spoiler, or I guess you call it a spoiler, an air dam, or what's
I call it an air dam, which basically from the automotive world, they always put this in a lot of new cars to improve the aerodynamics of the front of the car, and keep the air actually flows behind it and stays attached to the side of the bike a little bit better. That's once again, this is a theory. Like I don't have a wind tunnel.
No, I understand. I understand.
And ultimately, what I did, the reason these are fluorescent orange from here down, was once again to decrease the visual height of the bike, because stacking up all those elements like on the original one makes it look really tall. And so if you look like perhaps the original one with the glossy tank way up on top, like a cherry on top of the sundae, it looks really high, and then you got all these components. Mine is all compressed down here, so visually you just read like the orange part from a distance. This is the height that you read. And then the synthetic haze color, it's a camouflage color.
Now tell me a little bit about the paint.
It was just inspired by reconnaissance planes from World War II. They invented this color called synthetic haze. It was like satin finish blue gray
Right.
that would just basically disappear in the sky. And so it wasn't designed to be camouflaged on the ground or anything. It was just to make it disappear. And it's a fade as
Okay.
well. So
All right.
that's something I never do on bikes is a fade. But this part outside, if I took this outside and you looked at it from 100 yards away,
Right.
this upper part kind of goes away. That's why I didn't change any of this design of this part from the factory one. Everyone's like, why do you make a new quote unquote tank? And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, there's no reason, because this thing is packaged. If you remove it, it looks just like this
Yeah.
underneath.
Yeah.
You're not winning anything. If I
Yeah.
change any of the surfacing, I don't want to just change design just for the sake of changing
Yeah.
design.
Yeah.
So I kept that. I did do a 3D printed cap that,
Now I see this 23 on your other stuff too. What does that mean?
it's just kind of my lucky number.
Oh, your lucky number,
It's actually my
okay.
daughter's birthday.
Okay, cool.
The 23rd of December. And
And these are antlers?
yeah, that's
Okay.
actually from, the meaning of this is actually derived from the old place where we just were up on
Okay.
Mulholland, because I
Okay.
called it the Mulholland, which is another play.
That's right.
Play on words, because my logo is that EM,
Right.
Earle Motors.
Right.
So on my whatever marketing stuff, I have EM. So it's like Earle Motors, but also
Okay.
electric Mulholland.
All right.
And so this is all Mulholland themed, and that's why it has the antlers. Those are the old place.
And
That's
what
their
is
logo.
what is the red stripes?
All that is where you push, sir.
Oh, push, let it go.
So hit the
Oh,
spring.
okay,
Just- it's
okay,
like a little
yeah.
indicator
All
for
right.
that. There's
Okay.
the EM, right? Earle
Yeah,
Motors.
that's right.
And Mulholland. So that's what that is. And then on that Mulholland thinking, that's why it has these little auxiliary lights off to like 45
Yeah, no.
degrees to both sides.
Yeah, now these lights are crazy. How did this all come about? I see you've
Yeah,
got
they're-
different handlebars and different.
Yeah, I got lower bars. These are built well. They're right off the shelf. I bought these at Ventura Harley, like they were on the shelf when I went there one day. But
Okay.
and I wanted them chrome actually, because I quite often trailer this bike and I strap these down all the time. And I like these chrome ones because they just don't wear
Yeah,
the finish
yeah,
or anything off.
yeah.
But the 45-degree lights, they're mounted vertically. Normally these lights are horizontal.
Yes.
But
Yeah, you
I
turn
wanted
them
to illuminate,
sideways.
because the idea behind the Mulholland is like a canyon
That's right.
racer.
You got stuff on the side. You got to
Exactly.
see.
There are always like deer. There are a lot
Yeah.
of deer. But
Yeah.
one of my friends just totaled his car up there, hitting a deer. But
Yeah.
and rocks are falling all the time. So I wanted
Right.
to illuminate the canyon
That's
walls.
interesting.
So these are like vertically oriented and they're pointing to the sides. And I only turn those on when there's no traffic. Obviously.
I
They're
see. So
insanely
they're
bright.
independent of the headlight.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
okay.
wired to the normal battery, the auxiliary.
Okay,
I don't know what it's called. It's like
Yeah,
the little
that
battery.
doesn't cause a problem. It's not a high voltage light. So
No. I
Okay.
plug those things into all kinds of
Okay.
little lithium batteries all the time.
Okay.
And the headlight, this is wired to the factory switch.
Yeah, I
The
see you
headlight
have
is.
another. Oh, this is the switch for the
That's
sides.
just for the sides only. So
Okay.
that's independent of the big circuitry
Yeah.
on the bike. This one headlight is the high-low, goes through the
Yeah.
factory
Now
switch.
I see you went with the carbon wheels too on this. Are these the
Yeah. They're BSTs
BST wheels?
from
Yeah.
South Africa.
I think this is the first set I ever saw.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I asked LiveWire. I was working on this a year ago,
Right.
more than a year ago, and I asked LiveWire. I asked BST if they could do a fitment for this bike, and they asked for the drawings, and LiveWire produced the drawings.
Oh, they did. That's wonderful.
So I sent them over like a long time ago, and
Okay.
they did the fitment like for the spacers and everything. And so these, you can buy these. You can just
Yeah, no,
order
people buy
them.
them now, but you were the guy that got the development done. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
took
great.
a while.
Now, what is this here? You've changed the color here too on the front. This is
Yeah.
usually silver.
You're
So
right.
that's-
There's not too much to that. I wanted. It was funny when I first saw this concept.
Right.
I really loved this design. It looked like, to me, like locomotive almost.
Yes,
like
right.
somehow, like,
Like a
really
steam engine
industrial
type thing. Yeah, yeah, I
like, that's
agree.
cool, and I really liked it. But just for this Mulholland Canyon Racer, I didn't want it to look like that.
Right.
So I removed all the, there's
Oh
like a
yeah,
bunch of
that's all
silver.
gone. Yeah, that's all gone.
Yeah, there's a lot of really beautiful like trim designed work
Yeah.
here, but I removed it,
Right.
and I just want to see this motor, this inline motor.
Well, you also pulled the pulley cover off too.
Yeah.
That looks,
Again,
that
it's
looks
just-
pretty cool, man. It
I just
really
wanted
does.
it to look as pure and mechanical as possible.
Yeah. Kind
So-
of gives it the train look you were talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want it to look, like a canyon racer.
Yeah.
So I also water jet cutted a bunch of this
Yeah,
stuff,
that
and the
looks
brackets
really
for the
nice.
light, and what else?
Well,
Back
tell
here.
me about the seat. This is completely different.
Yeah, this would be kind of like the final big piece, which I removed the factory cast piece, which was
Right.
actually also really nicely designed. The way the seat opens and it's kind of like articulated with
Yes.
the thing that presents the charger and everything. But I eliminated that, and I made my own, or I designed my own. I had this fabricated by my friend, also
Yeah.
at Buckshot Racing.
Very nice.
But this is like tubular steel.
No, it's
and
really well done too.
Yeah,
the way
it's
it's
really
cut and
good.
everything, very well done.
And it supports my own seat that I
Okay.
modeled that seat and
Right.
cast it in foam, and then Saddleman covered it in leather. But
Okay.
my point was to raise the seat. I'm pretty tall, and I like this seat height anyway, but
Yeah.
I wanted the whole bike to have this sports bike
Oh, it does.
gesture.
It has it's a swooping line. Yeah, definitely a swooping
It's got
line.
wedge, like, because I lowered the bars significantly, probably by 3 inches,
Right.
and then
You raise
raised
the
the
seat.
seat. So I'm like
Yeah.
up on it,
Yeah.
and I don't sit down behind it. Like, if you look, this is very horizontal.
Well, I also notice on the LiveWire when I sit down low and pull my knees in, I get better range. So
Is that right?
you're probably getting better range, point more into the wind.
We should check that out.
Now in the back here, this is all your custom design here as well.
Yeah.
You got the lights. You got another cooling thing going on there.
Like, yeah, and that's just a styling
Yeah.
exercise back there. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. It mimics the
Yeah.
fins on the front.
Looks cool.
And then this is a Baja Designs, I think they call it an RTML.
Yeah.
It's a 6-inch, it's super bright. They use
Yeah.
these like on the back of trucks in the desert
right.
to protect them from getting rear-ended in the
Right.
dust. So they're really, really bright and submergible. I mean, you can put that under the water. and
Yeah.
it still works.
Now you also pulled off the chain guard in the fender.
Yeah.
And you,
Yeah.
Oh, you cut this off too.
That just comes off. There's a bolt right
Oh,
there.
it does
and
come off.
comes right
Okay, because I
Yeah.
always see them sticking up when people take them off. Okay.
That little stub comes off. It's really heavy too.
Okay.
It's crazy
And then you've
heavy. I
got
don't know what it's about.
you've got the carbon wheel in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the rear, I can tell you, is 7 pounds lighter than a stock.
Oh, is that right?
It's
So you
a
pull that kind of
ton.
weight off the unsprung weight.
Yeah,
huh?
it's 5 for the front, and this one is 7.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's worth it then.
It's totally worth it, and you feel it. There's no question.
Really?
You know, like, it transitions and turns a lot better, and
Yeah.
acceleration, deceleration,
Wow.
and the suspension works better too. The suspension doesn't have to suspend as much weight, so
Now what you did here is you cut this off too and added
Yeah.
a piece of carbon
and those,
there.
I have to admit, like, these are just done temporarily.
Yeah.
I want to get the Suicide Machine guys rear sets.
No, they have beautiful rear sets. Yeah.
These are just temporary for me to. I just didn't want the passenger
thing sticking
pads
out.
on here.
Yeah.
But that's it. And then I made a bunch of parts under here, and today they're hidden anyway by the
Okay. Yeah.
license plate.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. I've
No,
got
it's
these Pirellis on
it's a
it.
beautiful bike. It's got a lot of press. I really appreciate you taking a moment too to take us through it.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful.
I love riding it. It's really fun. Like,
Yeah.
no qualification necessary. Like, it's just fun. Anybody
Yeah.
that rides
Yeah.
one of these, it's easy for people to
No,
dismiss them.
I'm obviously totally sold, man. I've been riding my whole life, and man, when I hop on this, it's like a whole different thing.
Super fun.
Yeah,
There's
really
no
is.
denying it.
Yeah, it really is. Well, thank you very much, Alex. Appreciate your
absolutely.
time, and I'll give you the link. You can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Thank you.
Never done